Okay, now I'm your trainer for Azure Data Engineer course. I have a total of 7+ years of experience working as a data engineer and senior data engineer. Now, in this Azure Data Engineering course, we will have 100% practical examples, real-time project, and expert level classes. What's the agenda for today's video? In this video, we'll understand about what is a database, what is a data engineering, what is Azure Data Engineering, components involved in Azure Data, components or tools involved in Azure Data. Next, we'll learn the process of Azure Data Engineering, and then comes the real-time project details. First, these are the components of an Azure Data Engineering, which are present in Azure portal. So before going into the components, we'll discuss about what is a database. So a database is a platform where you can store any type of data and any amount of data secured and structured. So basically any type of data. So here you can store images, QR codes, audio file, links, any type of data, whether it is a character values or integer values, coming to any amount of data. So here there is no limit to store data. So you can store unlimited amount of data depending upon your space. Next, about the security. So in order to log into this database or in order to access this databases, you need certain amount of permissions and also login permissions. Then only you will be able to access this databases. And coming to structured format, in databases, data is stored in rows and columns. And we have two basic types of databases, which is OLTP databases and data warehouse databases. Now, what is this OLTP database piece? It's online transaction processing databases. And these are the databases where we try to store live data, real-time data, where we want to work with the data frequently. Those type of data, we store it in OLTP databases. Next, we have DWH, data warehouse databases. Under this databases, we try to store historical data, old data, where we might not require the data access daily. We require it once in a while. So that type of data we store it in data warehouses. So in this Azure Data Engineering course, we will work with both OLTP databases and data warehouse databases. Coming to who is a data engineer? Basically, who is a data engineer? A data engineer is a professional who designs, manages, and optimizes data. As a data engineer, we need to create these data warehouses where we store this historical data. So we have Synapse pools, SQL pools here in our Azure cloud. So we need to create those data warehouses. We also need to perform ETL operations, which is nothing but extract, transform, load, and also perform big data analytics. As a data engineer, we need to extract the data from source. Our source might be file, OLTP databases, websites. We might require data from applications. So we need to extract data from source and then perform transformations to the state. So transformations might be, removing duplicates, removing null values, joining multiple tables into a single table. So different types of transformations depending upon the client's requirement and performing the transformation, then loading the data into a data warehouse. So this is the process of ETL, extract, transformation, and loading, ETL operation. The complete learning plan as an Azure Data Engineer. First, we need to import file from data sources, whether it's a CSV file, a database, or any IoT devices. We can import data directly into our OLTP databases, or similarly, we can import data into Azure storage accounts. So we have storage accounts where we can store data which is present in our Azure cloud. Now, from this data, we can perform ETL operations using Azure Data Factory or Azure Databricks. So we have two ETL tools using which we can perform ETL operations, which is Azure Data Factory and Azure Databricks. In Azure Data Factory, it's completely codeless ETL. There is no requirement of writing codes in Azure Data Factory. When it comes to Azure Databricks, it is code-based ETL. We can perform ETL operations by writing codes. So it supports Python, SQL, Scala language, R language. So these are the different languages using which we can perform ETL operations. Now, after performing the transformations using this ETL tools, then we load the data at data warehouse. So in Azure Cloud, we have Synapse pools or SQL pools as data warehouses. And in Databricks, we have Spark databases in the Hive meta store. These are the two different data warehouses which we are going to learn. And then from here, the data is used by data analysts, business analysts, data scientists for their data visualization purpose or training data models, machine learning models, and others. Next, this is also an implementation plan of a data engineer. Simply extracting the data from a data source, whether it's a database, files, or applications, and using ETL tools, which we are going to learn in our classes with Azure Databricks or Azure Data Factory. Azure Databricks is a code-based ETL, and Azure Data Factory is a codeless ETL. Now, after performing the transformations here, we can load the data at a data warehouse, which is Synapse pools, data lakes, and Spark databases. From here, Power BI experts, data analysts can access your data. What are we going to learn in this Azure Data Engineering course? So first module is about Azure Data Factory and Synapse. Here we learn about Azure SQL, Azure ETL and Data Warehouse, Azure Data Factory, Azure Synapse Pools, how to create the Synapse Pools, ETL pipelines, how to build ETL pipelines. Then we have something called copy data activity, data flow activity, SCD type 1 versus SCD type 2. We have CDC, upset operations to perform upset operations. Next, we have how to create parameters, how to use parameters for creating pipelines and importing the data. We have different types of pipeline optimizations by using which we can extract maximum output. Next, we have something called self-hosted IR integration runtimes. So we'll be learning about self-hosted integration runtime, auto-resolving integration runtime, and we'll also learn about Synapse Analytics. So this is module 1, under which we'll learn about Azure Data Factory and Synapse. Next is about storage accounts. So here we'll learn about Azure storage blobs. We'll learn about Azure Data Lake. Next, we'll learn about Azure Stream Analytics, Azure IoT Hubs. We'll learn about Azure Event Hubs, Azure Key Vaults, Azure Metrics, Azure Alerts, and Azure Logic Apps. So these are the tools we're going to learn under storage account module. Next, we have Python and Databricks. Under Python and Databricks, we'll see how to create Azure Databricks account, Spark SQL, and ETL data warehouse. So basically using Databricks, how we can perform ETL operations, how to create data warehouses. And then we'll see how to write Python queries to perform ETL operations. We'll see what is PySpark, what are widgets, what are workflows, what is a Unity catalog, what are Delta Lake tables. We'll see what is Delta Live tables. We'll see Lake Flow. We'll discuss about autoloader. We'll see about medallion architecture, and we'll also see about Scala notebooks with some AI implementations. And after completing all these modules, after covering all the topics, we'll have a real-time project where we'll learn about CI/CD integrations, Power BI integrations. So we have a project at the end of the course, which is completely practical. You can put it on your resume. It will help. Now, who can become a data engineer? Anyone with a basic BTech background, they can become a data engineer. Freshers, experienced developers. If you are a SQL developer, Python developer, you know, you can become an experienced data engineer. Experienced database administrators, experienced testers, consultants, and architects. Anyone who wants a career in big data and cloud computing can become a data engineer. After completing this Azure Data Engineering course, you can do certifications which puts your resume ahead of others. So see you in our live classes.